Can't see well. You have to stick your head up.
We can see you, Dean, but we can't hear you.
Where do you see it?
We call the meeting to order. I'll ask Commissioner Johnson to have our invocation.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, as always, we give you praise and glory for the beauty of this day. And we give you thanks for the ability to come in here this evening and assemble in a different way than we're normally seated, but nevertheless, Lord, we're here and we just give you praise. And we ask that everything that we take on this evening we'll do for the glory of your name. And we ask for your guidance, your direction, and wisdom in all that we do. In the precious name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Call the meeting to order. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated. Tonight I want to add one thing to the agenda, and that is under the after the consent agenda, we're going to add C and have rules of procedure for electronic meetings, town of Benson. And everybody had gotten a copy of that in a couple, I think, of iterations. So we get down to that, we will we'll bring that in. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the change.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the change.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. I now will swear in our new clerk. If she'll come forward, please. Our new clerk is Angie Thornton. And let's see, you want to raise your right hand and put your hand on the Bible. Okay. I, Angie Thornton, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as town clerk. So help me God. Say, hope, so help me God.
So help me God.
You are now sworn in as the saying, and if you will sign this, then you'll be official. And you keep it. Put it in the file. I'll now entertain a motion and welcome Angie. We're tickled to death
Thank you.
and we appreciate the job that Tyler has done since he's been filling in. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. The there's a couple of things, we're in new territory here, and there's a couple of things that I'm gonna cover that you won't find on the agenda, but it's to try to clarify. On the 16th of March, 2020, there was a resolution 201-2020, declaration of the state of emergency for COVID-19. And that was approved by the board on the 16th. The communications about that went out on 3/16 and went to the place that Tyler had our communications. With that is a rules of procedure for electronic meetings of the town of Benson. The Board of Commissioners under a state of emergency declaration. The Board of Commissioners of the town of Benson, North Carolina recognize that Article 33C of Chapter 143 of the North Carolina General Assembly contemplates that official meetings of public bodies, such as the town of Benson Board of Commissioners, may take place by electronic means. Further, Section 143-318-10D of the North Carolina General Statute states that an official meeting can mean a meeting assembly or gathering together at any time or place, or the simultaneous communication of conference, telephone, or other electronic means of a majority of the members of the public body for the purpose of conducting hearings and participating in deliberations or voting upon or otherwise transacting the public business within the jurisdiction, real or apparent, of the public body. These rules of procedure for electronic meetings are a guide for how the town body will conduct meetings featuring electronic participation. Meetings to which these rules apply. These rules of procedure for the electronic meetings, electronic rules, shall apply only to meetings of the town of Benson Board of Commissioners and not to any other public bodies existing under the authority of the town of Benson. The electronic rules are supplemental to the rules of procedure approved by the town of Benson Board of Commissioners for its meetings. Electronic meetings can take place for a regular, special, or emergency meeting of the town of Benson Board of Commissioners, subject to the conditions governing the use of electronic meetings. Now, that's only a part of a procedure, but that's the introduction. All the commissioners have gotten a copy ahead of time, and to clarify a point, there has to be a quorum on the floor in order to vote. We have a quorum. We have two people that are on the outside as electronic members of the board, and they can speak anytime they want to, as long as they're recognized. Cassandra Stack and Dean McClown are on the electronic membership. As long as we have a quorum on the a live quorum, only the four people can vote. The ones that are in the electronic section cannot vote on matters on the agenda. So I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution 202-2020, rules of procedure for electronic meetings of the town of Benson Board of Commissioners under a state of emergency declaration.
Yes. So you're saying they can be on the meeting, but they cannot vote?
They can't vote. They can't vote on any actual action item before the board if they're electronically participating.
And that's because of state law. And that's one thing that has not been changed. There were some of the things that we got really reprieved on kind of, and that is doing electronic meetings. But the ones that are not present, you have to be present in the live meetings.
That's good. That's something we could do.
They can
I
talk
question whether
about
it's-
what we're talking about, but they just can't.
But Rich and them do meetings over there. What is the difference? Now, they do electronic meetings and they are able to vote on that. That's statewide. Why would this not be?
Who are you talking about?
Reggie, when they meet with the Board of Governors, they get to vote electronic. Now, that's state. What is the difference?
Well, this is municipal law.
I think the same statute 143 governs both, and I'll take the position that it's questionable and best if somebody votes electronically. Some municipalities or state government agencies, boards take the position that right now during the coronavirus pandemic going on, that they'll allow participation through and voting through electronic means. I don't think that there's any well-settled rule that allows for that. There's nothing to prohibit them from participating altogether. I will say that one of the reasons I've come to that conclusion is most of your municipalities, for instance, are not allowing their boards or advising their boards and school government folks that are giving advice on this or advising boards to not take up any quasi-judicial items in meetings like this with purely electronic or electronic quorum participation with voting, because it's questionable as to whether or not that vote is legal. So a quorum for us is 4 members of the board, and if you've got that many people in the room anyway, then you can have the meeting, and if they vote, I think their vote being cast, if it's deciding, is gonna open this up for challenges on it.
If you go back and look at the book that we voted on as a group, that Trayon wrote, that we were actually operating under, also states the same thing. That if you allow members that can't be physically in the board, but they want to be able to say their piece about the thing that you're talking about, they can do that. They just can't vote on anything without being physically in the board.
The concern comes up if you've got a tie vote, so you've got 4 of you here. If you've got 2 and 2 and you have an electronic person that decides, well, you've got 2 participating electronically, let's say there's 1 more electronic participant that votes yes, and that measure gets approved. Has that actually been approved? Or could someone come in after the fact and file a lawsuit and say that wasn't actually approved? There's no statutory provision of law in the state of Oklahoma that allows you to vote like that, and therefore that electronic vote was never cast, and so it was a tie vote. But either the mayor could have broke or would have ended as a tie and not passed. So I think the cautious route is to say no voting, but since there's no prohibition on participation, they can certainly participate.
Maybe it's just me layman's terms, but go through this with my eye, because it sounds like in 2 different sections, this document contradicts itself and contradicts what we just said. Under number 5 in the quorum, it says only board members present in person shall be included to make the quorum. But then in the last sentence, it says that if a present person withdraws from the meeting, then the rest of the meeting may be completed, provided there is still a quorum, including an electronic person.
So I did that on purpose because if one of y'all have to leave, then you don't have a quorum and the meeting needs to stop. And that's certainly a possibility.
How would if they can't vote electronically, how can they still be considered part of the quorum to have the meeting?
The rules about quorum are not the same about voting. All right, so there's a lot more substantial opinion out there that the quorum can be counted electronically through electronic participation, like they're doing now with like a Zoom meeting, or however, whatever, I don't know the names of them. Zoom is the most popular one right now, but voting is the most concerning thing. My thought was with that, if you don't, and you can change it, and if you're able to pass it, but my thought was that if one of y'all has to leave and the meeting's got to end, if there's something else that needs to be decided. Also, the reason I put that in there is if you have a quorum when you start and then one of you leaves, then you had a quorum when you started, you could still continue that meeting anyway. And that's if none of this was passed, and you won't worry about any kind of electronic participation. So, in light of the fact that quorum calculation with electronic members and that rule about leaving the meeting is a little bit more solid ground, I think, so we can actually conduct these meetings while this is going on. And keep in mind too, provision number 2, this only applies during the pendency of a state of emergency declaration that involves the town of Benson. This is not a new policy that governs any situation where, you know, 1 or 2 of the members of the board just, you know, are busy or out of town or something like that. Now, you can do that on a one-off basis like we've done in the past where it was you, William, couldn't come one night. The board said, well, in this case, if it was a budget meeting, you can participate electronically so that you're up to speed on everything. That's fine to do, but this will not apply to every situation. Certainly once the coronavirus thing, it will apply once again if there's a state of emergency declaration, say for like a hurricane or something like that.
It says under a state of emergency declaration. So that goes away.
It's just so we can keep the meeting going and conclude it in that business that's before the board, so that we don't have to minimizing these meetings and everything is key, especially right now.
Any other questions? I'll still entertain a motion to approve it as presented. Or change. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The second part is back to the resolution that I talked about that came from 2018. Board of Commissioners regular meeting electronic participation procedure pre-meeting mayor protocol. Members of the public are reminded to observe proper decorum when can comment remotely. The same rules apply to speakers via phone or internet that apply to speakers physically present in the meeting chamber. That means you must give your true name and address before you speak, and any disruptive, profane, and abusive comments or violation of the rules of procedure for the town of Benson board meetings may result in severe penalties, including criminal prosecution. Commenters are limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. The mayor, as chairman of the meeting, has full authority to cut short commenters who violate the rules, exceed the time limits, or are repetitive with their comment. The allotted public comment period begins at approximately 7:10, lasts until approximately 7:20. During that time, individuals may call in or submit questions to the public comments period. Will accommodate. The comment period may be extended to accommodate as many people wishing to speak as is possible. If more time than the allotted public comment period is needed, after 1 minute passes with no commenters presenting, the public comment period will close. The mayor has the right to conclude the public comment period at any time if an circumstances warrant such an action. As with in-person public comment period, members of the board are cautioned against engaging with the commenters directly. With that, we'll open the public comment period. Was there an email that came in before the meeting? Is there anybody on the phone? There's nobody in the room unless Mike wants to make. Well, we said 7:10 was when it starts with what went out to the world. So if a minute goes by and we don't have anybody, then individual wishing to address the board are asked to provide their name and address for the record and get on the phone. There's nobody coming forward. We close the public comment section. There's department reports. Does anybody have any questions about those?
Mayor, if I may, I don't have a comment, but I would like to say that as you can see by way of the report before you, the departments have been busy during this time. We certainly appreciate the staff continuing to run the ball down the field, so to speak, and making sure that they're staying safe and healthy as they've been doing it. And we expect to continue to do that as usual. Thanks, everybody.
There's no old business. New business, consider approval of advisory board appointments. Benson Art Advisory Board. The two candidates are Loretta Bird and Linda Peacock.
It's supposed to be another application in there. Did I get that?
Mr. Mayor, considering that we did receive another application this afternoon for that, and also considering that I received a phone call from Ms. Bird last week who said that she may want to withdraw if we have enough members. I would like, if possible, considering there's no meeting going on right now, to table that until our next meeting so I can confirm that she doesn't withdraw her application. And then if that's, and that would give me, Commissioner Hawley and Commissioner Staggs a chance to review the application.
We make a motion to,
I make a motion that we table that until our May meeting in this. Commissioner Hawley has any objection?
any other comment? All in favor, say aye. Those no. Table to the next meeting. Consider approval of restriction of truck traffic on Pine Street.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, excuse me for talking behind your back. I'd like to back up for 1 second to the Arts Advisory Board and let you know that I do intend to set up a Zoom meeting with the members that are seated on that board. Just to go over some housekeeping things and let them know where they are with the last 2 seats being filled. And we'll likely, as a matter of fact, we will invite the public to join us so that we most likely by the same method that we're using today. And thank you for your business there. For item B there, new business, the community, I should say the residents over on Pine Street, would ask that we consider closing that street off to truck through traffic. Not only Pine Street, as we are aware, that turns into Woodall, South Woodall Street, excuse me, West Woodall Street as well. So in order for that particular road to be consistent throughout, we would ask that the board consider closing off Pine, South Pine, and West Woodall Street to truck traffic.
We don't do fine when right in. You say you won't let them come off 27 on the Pine Street, but they can come off of 301 on the Woodall. Okay. Is that what you said?
That's why I was asking that West Woodall be included as well, so that from both ends of that.
Oh, okay.
The traffic be prohibited.
I can tell you, from living on Pine Street, and we really appreciate the town repaving that, but since it has been repaved, it has become police traffic, traffic, and traffic, and they are kind of way over the street. And I appreciate the police department doing this.
Any other comments?
No restrictions on that's a trick, restricting the traffic.
Well, we usually talk about 2 turns.
I was able to play in the state with the project in 27. We had D4 out for that, the state project in 27.
Well, even if it were, could they not get some kind of special permit or special permission to use that road if they had to?
Well, what you do is sign up, but there's a number of streets that we have. That's
So do we need a motion? I make a motion that we restrict trucks on time with on street.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Are you gonna cover the financials, Kim?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You ready?
We're ready for January and February.
Okay. For the month of January, we were supposed to be at 58%, and in revenues, we were at 67.72, and expenditures, we were at 67.52. So pretty much even. We're above in both, but we're pretty much even. Revenues being just a little bit more. I've been talking to FEMA all day today. They are reviewing our paperwork. I've had to give them some updates, but I do anticipate us getting back FEMA money by June. I have told them it's imperative that we get that money by June, and so I'm hopeful, and that will definitely make Fund 30 look much better.
You were just covering January.
Yeah, that's January. You want me to go on to the February one for this first?
Any questions on January? Of the board? I'll entertain a motion to approve January. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. All right, February.
Okay, the month of February, we should be at 66%. We were at 74.78 in revenues and 74.94 in expenditures. So again, we're above where we're supposed to be, and we're pretty much even for both. I will say, when we started hearing talk of COVID and the stay-at-home order, I have directed all department heads to pretty much cease any spending because we know there's going to be some loss of revenues in utilities, and in sales tax also. So they have curb spending. We're basically paying utilities and our internet bills, and then anything that's just absolutely necessary to get their job done. Other than, we have projects that are getting funded by other organizations, which you'll have on your agenda a little bit later.
Does anybody have any questions for Kim? Any comment? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. The town of Benson I-95 DOT Betterment Project. Kim?
So this is just putting everything on paper. This project was approved at the last meeting, and it just puts it on the books that it's an upcoming project. We know there's funding that we've got to make available to it, and so it's just kind of paperwork.
Anybody have any questions? Entertain a motion to approve this ordinance.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Consider approval of the Public Works grading contract.
So this is Golden Leaf funding, and we are under a timeline to get the Public Works building complete. This particular, there's two bids that went out basically on the same day. This one is for grading, and this will clean up the yard back behind the new building and slope all that down. There's some cement that's got to gotta get broken up back there. There's a fence that's gotta come down. There's actually a building on the new public works building that has to be demolished. So all of this is included. We did put it out for bid. The first day that bids were due, we only had 2 responsive bidders, so we did have to extend it. That's why you didn't have it in your packet. We extended it, and it was due today. We had 4 responsive bidders, and the lowest bid came in at $20,249.88. And I do want to say that it came in under staff estimates. Tim estimated the project would cost about $30,800, so we did come in less, which was good. And so we need approval of this bid so they can start the work, and the grading process will be done by May 5th.
Who was the first one that bid, when you bid it the first time, who were the 2 that bid on it?
The first 2 we had were TLC and Artie Grassel. They asked us to hold their bids until we had the second opening. At the second opening, we had JSK and State Hollow.
And looking at this, and I went back and looked at the details of each one of the parts of the contract, and there was quite a bit of disparity with what Steady Hauling bid. Or do you have any misgivings that they're going to come back and say, "Oh, we didn't bid this high enough"?
Actually talked with him today to confirm everything. Actually, we wanted we kind of had that same thought process. And he said, no, everything is as he put it. He does not expect to come back and ask us for anything else. So I think it's just a job that he really wanted to do. But Tim did talk to him today, and he said it's as stands. And Tim felt confident that he could do the work.
Tim, if for some reason we do come back and we do miss something, if we approve this tonight and then we need more funding, are we going to be able to go back to Golden Leaf for that additional funding if we run over this bid amount?
This Golden Leaf funding, I think, is going to be where it's at. But I would think where Tim had estimated it being $30,000, there is a $10,000 kind of leeway there if he did have to come back. But if he had to come back, he would have to go back to you guys first and get approved before he could do any work. But I don't anticipate that happening.
Well, I mean, if he bid $20,000, then he's obligated to provide the work for that.
Correct.
If
The
not,
only way he could change it is a change order, which would have to be approved by the board.
anybody have any questions? I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Town report. Fred Nelson.
Thank you again, Mayor, Commissioners. As you see listed there, we have a few items listed there. Beginning with the spring cleanup, waste management started yesterday. April 19th to the 25th is National Library Week, and May 10th to 16th, National Police Week. And May 12th, again, our Board of Commissioners meeting. Our Chamber of Commerce sponsored events are all our elements of calendar. I have a list of those things, but for the life of me, I cannot find. However, we realize that we're dealing with COVID-19 restrictions. So we probably will see what those things that the Chamber has put out there for their activities will be canceled or otherwise altered. That's it for that. Oh, I do want to back up and say that key tip of that Newtown Place. Letting the work so to speak and apply that.
Kim, there's one clarification of what Fred just said. The spring cleanup with waste management starts the 13th. Are they gonna be picking up all this week?
They are supposed to, he actually was supposed to come yesterday, and we got notification today that, his truck was messed up, and so he actually didn't come yesterday, but he was able to get whatever. Because this is like a third party with waste industries that they contract out. So Jeremy, told me today that he would be there this week, and he would start cleaning up, and it'll run into next week. It usually does run into the following week.
Well, the people who was calling today, didn't know anything about it. They were calling to find out if they could get somebody to pick up grass cuttings and pine straw and all that. And I said, that stopped on February the 1st. But I just wondered if waste management is going to pick up everything that's been put out at the street.
Yes, they're supposed to. This is the main spring cleanup that they do every year, so they are supposed to pick up everything that's on the street. And what we'll do is we'll go back and check if they missed something. We'll call them and they'll have to come back out again. And we're sorry, there was some miscommunication. I guess Jeremy thought somebody in his office had contacted us, and they actually hadn't. So we got a phone call today that somebody's stuff hadn't been picked up. And that's when I contacted Jeremy, and he told me that the guy hadn't come in yet.
Okay. The other thing, the one thing that the chamber has this Friday is gift card day. They're encouraging the people to go into the businesses that have really taken a hit and buy gift cards from them. Help them out, give them a little cash flow. I looked at the email, but I can't remember any more than that for you.
What business is that?
All the restaurants.
Accountants.
I think what you might be saying as far as going in, I think what the chamber says is all marketing over a gift card or something, maybe you can do it online. You can't physically go in to get the gift card.
First, I think you feel like yeah.
If I may, Mary,
Yeah.
just reminder of the letter has sent an email regarding the way to celebrate the seniors who are graduating by way of doing kind of a parade, so to speak, where folks ride down the street and people on the sidewalk and back and hollering, etc. Certainly, if we do something like that, that would have to be at least an event. But other times I've been doing it, and certainly want to get more information as to how they carry it out. Just by way of mentioning it.
Mike?
I don't really have anything sensitive. I want to congratulate Angie and thank her because, especially the first part of this meeting, with the new procedures and the opportunity for public comment, there's not really availability for folks to come in the room. This is her first meeting as clerk, and I told her she should have had at least 6 months worth of meetings, just normal, regular, run-of-the-mill stuff before we got any crazy stuff. Thank you, Angie, and to Tyler especially too, because did a lot of work to make all this happen. So everybody's safe. And I'm open, as we said, the doors are open. I'm open. So we're on the same post platform. And if you need me, I think everybody's got my cell phone and email. Just let me know. I can call or I can be here. I'm in the office doctor.
Thanks for what you did to get ready for this. And there's new ground that we're plowing. We don't want to stick track of. William?
I just want to say and make sure that the staff here, congratulations to the board and then thank you all for the rest of them. I've dealt with several different departments over the past couple of weeks, and all those things are different. A lot of them important components have been very responsive to me almost immediately. And so make sure Kim and Fred, if you don't mind, share that. Hopefully we'll get back in line before we.
Jim?
Well, certainly I would like to congratulate you on your job position. We're glad to have you. The next thing is, I too have to echo what you said. Seems like I've had more to take care of since the town office closed than ever before. But they have been very helpful, been very open, and certainly returning phone calls is very quick. So I appreciate that.
I would also love you, and also like to say, I hope that I look forward to the time we get out of the new normal, whatever the normal is. I think it's going to be very personal.
You know, I listened to the president before. I think we'll have World War III before. No, I mean,
Where
within
did
the
you
United
count
States.
Benson mask?
Should I do a short ad for a room? The last name is Fan. One newsman. $5 a piece, and that's a real colorful one. They have to kind of tone it down a little bit. I wanted it quite well.
Professional.
You really did a good job with those things.
You got a full mask and formal and
You got one way to work. I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and we were able to just want to say for the record that we had 10 people. That's all it is in this room, and they're spread out, so there's nobody sitting on top of each other. We're fortunate, the more I work with Angie, the more fortunate we are to have her here, and we're really looking forward to having her as part of the group. And Tyler, we appreciate all you do, but most especially you just stepped in. They thought you were the clerk of order. Is there anything else that needs to be? Cassandra, do you have anything?
I don't have any reports, but I would just like to thank all town employees for the job they're doing. I've been seeing in the police department, policing the areas a lot lately, which is always helpful. And to Mr. Thornton, I'm sorry that I can't be formally in a meeting, but welcome to the town, and I'll be able to meet you soon.
Alan Johnson, did Dean leave?
He's here. I think he's having some difficulties on the sound part, on the audio.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak? Kim?
No, sir, I'm good. I just appreciate all y'all's support. We are trying to be responsive. We're glad that it is being recognized. This has been an interesting time for us. But the staff definitely appreciates y'all's support, and I know that I appreciate it, and Fred appreciates it. And so anything y'all need, let us know.
Mr. Tart? Anything from you?
It's a joy working for the town of Benson, seeing everybody come together during this stressful time.
Is that you, Greg?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to a close. Adjourn. All in favor, say aye. I think the prayer came through.
It'll change things for the better.
No,